Okay. All right. This slides to show you another approach to solve a differential equations. And this is the approach we used most often in the control field. That's the way we do. So in control field, you might see a lot of complex variables coming out. But again, the complex variable itself doesn't have any physical meaning in it. We must, like this, we must eventually convert it to become a real. For example, let me show you an example here. Like that Wt Ct equal to W E minus I omega t minus phi. But for that, only the real part is your solution. The imaginary part is not. Understand? So for this, W parenthesis omega exponential I parenthesis omega t minus phi supposed to be equal to W parenthesis omega cosine parenthesis omega t minus phi plus I sine, right? And that I sine, that term, really, that's the term you added in there. And that is not your solutions. All right. So, but anyway, we really don't worry about that because we worry about this we call gain and the phase angle. So doesn't matter what, your gain and your phase angles come from your complex approach for that. So steady state solution, you can see that the steady state solution only the real part. We call IE the real part, parenthesis WC parenthesis T parenthesis. So that's your solutions. The imaginary part is not your solution. We must take them out. If you really want to look at solution, by the way, we don't really look at the solution itself. We look at the gain, we look at the phase angle. Okay? So we look at the DSW and that's phi. Okay, let's look at the this again mass spring despot system. I'm going to show you a different way of writing a differential equations. Here, I have a despot. Then I have the spring force will be proportional to the negative kW. The despot will be proportional to left and negative zeta W dot. So one related to displacement, one related to velocity. So and then based on Newton's law, then we have that equation. We know that. I already show you that. All right. However, now the m larger than 0, zeta larger or equal to 0, k larger or equal to 0. That's the physical meaning. So mathematically, k can be negative, zeta can be negative. However, physically, cannot be negative, zeta cannot be negative. That's a real system. So m must be larger than 0. That's based on Newton's law. All right. Now here are many different terms will be defined here, and that's the way we look at the system. One is we call natural frequencies. Omega n will be the square root k over n. And the period, okay? The period will be 2 pi divided by omega n. That's the period for this system. And another definition called damping factor. Damping factors. Look at that, okay? That's what we call zeta n. That means zeta divided by parentheses 2 n omega n. So look at that, and there are many physical meaning for those definitions, and we want to look at that. So equation of motions, if you write that, become this: W double dot plus 2 zeta n omega n W dot plus omega n squared W equal to F divided by n. So your force divided by n. Now, you look at this, omega n squared, omega n is your natural frequency. Natural frequency here. Look at that, natural frequency. I will show you why I want to define this way, and you will be able to see those definitions will give you a lot of ideas how your system behave. And that's, remember this, because zeta n is, we call damping factors, sometimes we call damping ratios or damping percentage, like that. So this is the way we write this spring, mass spring dashpot system. That's the way we do. Normally, that's the way in a controller design, we write this way. Now, I'm going to show you what is the significance of those. Now, look at the title here. Now, I'm going to talk about only transfer response, because I want to characterize the system before I go to controller design. So to characterize the system, then this is the way we do. All right. Now, we let WT equal to A, E, lambda T, that's the way we solve it, right? And that lambda can be complex. So if you look at this carefully, lambda squared plus 2 zeta n omega n, lambda plus omega n squared equal to 0. And that we have roots like this. Very pretty, right? This is why we define omega n. We define zeta n, because the roots depend on omega n and zeta n only. All right? So omega n is natural frequencies. Zeta n is the damping factors. Look at this. We have zeta n here. We have zeta n squared minus 1. You have 1 here. Okay. Now, there's many different cases. So the solution will be that, right? Agree? That's the solutions. Okay. Now we gotta be careful to look at that solutions. And zeta n really play the major role in this. Look at that. Zeta n equal to 1. Zeta n larger than 1. Zeta n less than 1 give you all different solutions. All right. Zeta n larger than 1, then all the eigenvalues are all real. Zeta n equal to 1, then we have multiple roots. Zeta n less than 1, then what happens? If zeta n then less than 1, then we have a complex values. So the only case this system has complex value is zeta n less than 1. So remember, that's 1 is our dividing line for the system. So we can look at 3 different cases. Zeta n larger than 1, zeta n equal to 1, zeta n less than 1. Then we can look at what kind of responses you have. Which one is better? Do you prefer zeta n larger than 1, or you prefer less zeta n less than 1, or you prefer zeta n equal to 1? Before I talk, make a guess. Which one you like? Less than 1? Larger than 1? Okay. How about you? What is the reason larger than 1? What is the reason larger than 1? The name will be more. That's what he said. I didn't say that. How about you?
What they said is true. When it is lesser than 1, it will be
Less than 1 will be
underdamped.
Underdamped, right? Okay. Anybody
But
else?
larger than 1 will be overdamped.
The larger than 1 is overdamped. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to show you that. See, then you judge yourself. You make a larger than 1 and less than 1 equal to 1 or something like that. Okay. Any other guess? No. Everybody agree larger than 1 is better? No. We'll see. All right. I'm not going to give you an answer yet. You judge by yourself. Go over them. Larger than 1, right? Over them. Over them. Larger than 1. Then lambda 1, 2. We have lambda 1, lambda 2. Obviously, when there are 1 very large than 1. All right. Then what is lambda 1? Lambda 1 or close to 0. Agree? Lambda 1. When there are n very large, say 1,000. Then minus 1,000 plus square root 1,000 minus 1 is 999 square root, close to 1. Agree? So what? So lambda 1, what is the eigenvalue of lambda 1? Very small. Negative, but small. How about lambda 2? Very negative, right? Because that's add together. Minus 1,000, minus square root 1,000, and 999. That's about 2,000, minus 2,000, right? So 1 will be close to 0. Still negative, but very small value. 1 is negative, but very large value. Agree? Okay. Critical exam. Then we have lambda 1 equal to lambda 2 equal to minus omega n, right? Then our solution will be Wt equal to A1 plus A2t. Or will t come out here. Then exponential minus omega n t, right? Solution like that. You have a t there. May not be good. Agree? Okay, let's look at this. That's the responses. When time from 0 to 4, omega n equal to 3, omega n equal to 3, then zeta n equal to 1, zeta n equal to 2, zeta n equal to 3, 4, 5, 7. And which one you like? Which one damn faster? 1. So overdamped doesn't mean it's good. Agree? Yeah. But a good guess. I'm not saying it's a bad guess. Yeah. Intuitively like that, because that's the overdamped. But that's only one eigenvalue overdamped. Another eigenvalue is not. So from this case, you like critical damped, not overdamped. Or I mean, I say this use case. If you look at this value, as omega n equals 3, I get the values. Not always like this, but basically that's just like that. Because as you can see that this lambda 1, if zeta n is very large, lambda 1 close to 0. If zeta n going to infinite, that means this is 0 eigenvalue. Means you don't really have a damped at all. So one eigenvalue is way overdamped. One eigenvalue is, I'm sorry, I have no damping. Yeah. That's a mess. But that's a true story too. Zeta n very large, what does that mean in the despot? I mean, it's very stiff, right? Agree? Now, any questions about the overdamped? No, right? Okay. So that's I give them the initial conditions because we are talking about sensor. This is a transient solution. This is not steady state. Okay. If you have overdamped and zeta n also very large, your system will keep moving because one is 0 eigenvalues. Will move like a rigid body. And in here, in the right-hand side of your figure there, in the right-hand side of the figure there, you can see that I give you initial condition like that. And then now for the case where the critical damped, A1 equal to 1, A2 is omega n. And then for the overdamped, A1 plus A2 equal to 1, lambda 1, A1 plus lambda 2, A2 equal to 0. But lambda 1 and lambda 2 both are real, so A1 and A2 are real. Okay. Any questions about this case now? No. So overdamped, the summary, overdamped may not be good. You don't want to be really overdamped. A little bit overdamped is okay. Now look at the roots. And look at roots, you will see the differences. Zeta n equal to 1, both roots are the same. But when zeta n grow from 1 to 8, then what happens? Then the 1 going down, more negative, 1 move up, less negative. So when 8 much more than 8, 100, 1,000, then one roots will be very close to 0. But again, still negative. All right. So that means your despot is very rigid. You are not doing much. You don't take energy much at all. All right. Under them, they are complex conjugate. For any underdamped, they come with complex conjugate. Has to be a pair compound. Cannot come to only one complex, like one real. No. Otherwise your system is not right system. There's no complex system. Solutions. That's the solutions you will get. There's no T, but there you have a damping called minus zeta n omega nt. You had a term called exponential minus zeta n omega nt. Sine omega d, look at that d. The omega d equal to omega n square root 1 minus zeta n square. We call damped natural frequencies. One is natural frequency, we call damped natural frequency. That means your frequency has been reduced. Because omega n, omega d, omega n, and if zeta n less than 1, smaller than, larger than 0, then 1 minus zeta n squared will be less than 1. So your damped frequency is always smaller than your natural frequencies. Okay? and that's not zeta n equal to 0, then of course now your damped frequency is your natural frequencies. In that case, your death part, it doesn't really work at all. That means you do not have death part in your system. Otherwise, your damped frequencies will be always lower than your natural frequencies. That's the case you have. All right. Now, that's the curve. You can see there's a green line, there's a blue line, and the green line really is A exponential E minus zeta n omega n t. That's come from your exponential term. That's give you damping. That's how the system energy being taken out by your dashboard. All right, your energy, your system energy is reducing because of your dashboard. And of course, you can still oscillate, but they're oscillating between the green line and blue line. That's the way they oscillate. Has to be all between these two lines. If you plot those two lines, oscillation will be within that two lines. Then you can still see the period is the tau d will be 2 pi divided by omega d. Is not divided by omega n. Your period is changing too. So your omega d is smaller. Your period will be longer, right? And your A, I show you how much A there. I show you how much the phase angle there. Phase angle is only zeta independent. So you can see why we have a definition of natural frequencies. We have definition of damping factors, right? Because of that damping factors, that damping factor give you 3 different regions to talk about. One is overdamped, one is underdamped, one is critical damped. That overdamped is really a misleading term. It's not really overdamped. Yeah, that's a misleading. Now you have a pretty good idea about your transient response. Agree? Now, so transient response, 3 different types. Overdamped, critical damped, underdamped. And most of the building like this, it's really not overdamped. It's either critical damped or underdamped. So if you look at that, you earthquake gone, you can feel your building still shaking. Right? Okay, now if you look at this, which one underdamped do you like to have? Of course, you want to be zeta n as close as possible to 1, right? If you look at this, and you think that's supposed to be the case? 0.5 is the blue line, means that the response decay in 3 seconds. 0.2, if you look at 0.2, then that's another line, which is at least you oscillate about 3 cycles. The 0.1, you oscillate more than 3 cycles. For zeta n equal to 0, you oscillate all the time. No damping at all. Okay, so in summary, we like our transient response close to critically damped. I think critically damped is the one, and I think it's the one the best. At least for this example showing. But in real control design, it's difficult to achieve this kind of critical depth. Might require you a lot of control force. So we are talking about, in general, we are talking about 3%, 5%, less than 10%. That's the best that we can get. 0.5 is 50%. 0.2 is 20%. 0.1 is 10%. As a matter of fact, 0.1 will be happy already. That's a 10% then. And very likely will be less than 0.1. Okay. And the 0.01 is not bad. It's acceptable. 0.03, 0.05 will be good. 10% is really a good goal. But even that 10% may require you a lot of control force. Or depending on your system. Your system is small, of course you don't. But your system is large, it's a different story. Okay? So for a 0.5, 50%, that's very unusual in our control design. Any questions so far? We already complete the call transient response discussions. Then we'll come back to after that we'll come back to our steady state response. All right, and this one show you underdamped response for the phase angle, for the and for the gain. Yeah, and that's what we have. If the sine theta is close to 0, then A will be large, and the phi is close 90 degrees, then A will be 1, like that. And that's the zeta in that there. And anyway, that's just giving some idea about the phase angle and also your amplitude there. I think we don't need to talk about this much. But now, come back to our steady state solutions. Because the transient response is nothing to do with external force. All right, the transient response depends on your system parameters only. Now, the steady state, we have to look at our control force. Now, the only one I get here, I say you assume we have only one force, one control force. Assume this input force is our control force, and that input force is cosine omega t. Only one cosine omega t. You can have several cosine omega t add together, and sine omega t add together, but we say one omega t. And what happens? And we have 2 omega. 1 omega, the omega n is our natural frequencies of the system. Omega is our forcing frequencies. So we have 2 omega here, 1 omega n, 1 is omega. Omega n, again, is our system natural frequencies. All right, it's complex approach. Then we have that approach. Then with substitution, then we got this. Now, this is different from the first few slides I show you. The first few slides is only a single degree system. This is 2 degree. Well, the first order system. I'm sorry. It's the first few slides. I was talking about the first order system. Now this is second order system. The second order system got this frequency called omega n. So that's a natural frequency we call omega n. So what is the relationship between omega n and omega? Now, not Wi omega is my amplitude. That's my amplitude here. So Wi omega equal to those omega n square A divided by omega n square minus omega plus 2I zeta n omega n. Okay, now from here you can simply see that if I don't have any damping, I don't have any zeta n, then W going to infinite when omega equal to what? Omega n, right? What does that mean? That means the system is oscillating with your input force. Dangerous. So if your system has no damping, you better make sure your input force frequencies stay away from your system natural frequency. That's the solution. I'm showing you that. So if your system has a damping, the zeta n, then at that moment, omega equal to omega n, your amplitude is still large. Agree? So that is the sum of the properties I just showed you. The amplitude, I'm showing the amplitude of this. Because again, I told you that with the I there doesn't make any physical meaning. So we saw the amplitude means the absolute value of that Wi omega. The absolute value of that I omega is our amplitude. That's the equation you have. There is no I involved in there. So when is the maximum amplitude? When will be your maximum amplitude? If you look carefully on this amplitude here, where that maximum W take place. Well, well, if you look carefully there, when zeta n is very small, then omega equal omega n will be close to maximum. Agree? If zeta n equal to zero, maximum is very obvious. Omega equal omega n, that's a maximum because that's infinite. W is infinite. So the system amplitude may become infinite when omega equal to omega n, under the assumption that there's a very small damping, zeta n. But for real maximum value, you need to take a partial derivative of omega partial a and make that equal to 0. All right. The phase angle. So the steady state, again, the steady state to characterize the response, the steady state response, the amplitude and phase angle, these two parameters are the one we use to characterize the steady state response. If your boss asks you, say, oh, okay, now show me what kind of the response you get. Then if you go there, get a plot. Oh, here is sine wave. Here's that sine wave. You know, your boss says, I don't need this. It doesn't mean anything. What they want to show you is the plots of amplitude then plus of phase angle. Okay. So the steady state response of the original solutions, the equation becomes this. That's the again, we have only the phase angle and amplitude here. So the real solution is this one. This is your real solution. Again, those I is gone. Those I is gone because we are taking on a real part of your complex solutions. And that real part of your complex solution is the solution for your system. That's the steady state solution of your system. All right. And then phase angle here. You look at this phase angle. This phase angle, when omega less than omega n, then what happens in these terms? When omega less than omega n, what happens in this term? This is positive term. Agree? When omega larger than omega n, that term will become what? Negative. So dividing line is omega n. On one omega on one side of omega n, which is positive. Other side omega n is negative. So they change phase in that dividing line. They change the sign in that line. Now, the angle change from one side to another side, what does that mean? Huh? Hey, there's a phase D and phase lag, right? And that is 180-degree difference. Agree? So that just gives you a lot of information. So this angles, this amplitude gives you a lot of information. All right. So when you normalize that amplitude, we call frequency response functions. You normalize it, then that is your frequency response functions. That's the gain you get. That's the gain you get from your input amplitude to become your response amplitude. So your response amplitude divided by your input amplitude, that is your gain. Well, you sometimes lose, sometimes gain. Cannot lose, but we all call gain. Negative gain we call lose, right? Okay. So when you plot it, you can see that clearly. The omega n equal to 1 in this example, that's 1 radian per second. That's the 10 to the 0 power. This is typical. We plot to show you or to characterize your response. That's where you plot. You plot in the dB. dB is dB z dB equal to 20 log 10 parentheses g. So how much dB will be the one order higher?
I don't get your question.
How much dB? See, what do we mean 20 dB, 30 dB? 30 dB, what does that mean 30 dB? 40 dB, say 40 dB. What does that mean is 40 dB? 40 dB, how much G you supposed to get? 100. So 100 times. If you gain 100 times means you gain 40 dB. Now, how much for 20 dB? 10 times. So from 20 dB jump to 40 dB, that's another 10 times. Okay. So 20 dB is 10 times larger. It's not joking, no. Okay, so if you look at this, G omega, W omega divided by omega n square A, omega n square A, that at these natural frequencies, you have more than 20 dB gain. That means you are more than 10 times gain. All right. If your 101, your input frequencies, your input amplitude is 10, your 101 will be 100. All right. That's dangerous. Hey, if you give you only like 1 centimeter, then you will become 100 centimeter amplitude. You are vibrating. That's quite dangerous situations. That's simply because your zeta n is very small, 0.001. That means 0.1% damping for the system. But the typical structure, civil engineering structure or other structures, we have about 1% damping. Now the typical structure we have 1%, but this is just a small. I have a 0.1% damping. That's 0.001. That's 0.1% damping. That's quite small. Most of the structure will be more than that. All right, but this is just show you the significance of the amplitude. You can see that this is more than 10 times. It's close to 30. So you are talking about probably 20 or 30 times gain, more than your exciting amplitude. Now, if you look at your phase angle, I told you, smaller than omega n and larger than omega n, in that moment you have 180-degree phase change. Right? So phase leg becomes phase deep. 180. That's not small, the angle-wise. But again, angle is not really our concern. The amplitude is really our concern. When you look at the frequency response function, they always look like this. You have to look at amplitude, look at phase. Because phase changing indicating that there is an oscillating frequencies involved. Okay, so you have phase change there, you can see there is a peak there. That's the case. So these two charts give you a lot of information. Rather than showing the mathematics. The engineers don't really look at mathematics. They look at the figures. All right. That's the way we do. Okay, so in so far we talk about first order system, we talk about second order system. Those first order system, they don't really have oscillating frequencies involved. But the second order system, you do have oscillating frequencies involved. In mechanical system, civil engineering system, they are all second order system. There's no such first order system. Yeah. First order system, like heat transfer, you have a first order system. Transfer heat from high temperature to low temperature, then that's first order system. But for the structures, that's all second order system. Okay, so we also introduced a dB concept here. The dB is the one use mount very often, your speakers also give you how much dB you're supposed to get, right? Your noise, how much noise, the dB, how much dB noise is tolerable, how much dB is not tolerable. Okay. Again, there's also another plot. You can see it that the if you look at carefully here, that my x-axis, my horizontal axis, I use the log scale. So when you plot this, you can use log scale in the horizontal axis. In the vertical axis, you can also use a log scale. That's what we do sometimes. So this way, two way you do it. This is also log square, and that is also log square, but it's different log scale you can have. Okay, so I show you that this is cycle per second. Another one. This is hertz. We're talking about hertz. Okay. Now we are talking about more than the second order system. We have this is from here. Yeah, this is related to TMD. Now there's more than one spring. There's 3 spring here and 3 dead spot here, and this is another system. And I'm going to show you what kind of transfer function you're supposed to get, and what kind of amplitude you're supposed to have, and so on that. And you will see. Again, a Newton law, and a more complicated system. But now, later on in these chapters, I'll show you that, in matter of fact, all the continuous system you can model it in terms of many discrete spring and dead spot system. All right. It's a combination of nothing but spring and dead spot. That's all. Doesn't matter how complex of your structure is, regardless. So this is very basic stuff. Now, show you this more than just one spring and one dead spot. Now there's more than one spring. There are 2 3 spring, 3 dead spot. However, this is only 2 degree freedom system. One is W1 and one is W2, 2 degree. But your model just like that, it's simple model. Okay. Okay, here is matrix formulations. You have M1, 0, 0, M2, 0, 1 plus 0, 2, minus 0, 2, plus 0, 2, 0, 2, plus 0, 3, and so on. And this is like that. Now this is matrix equation that's capital N, W double dot, and W is a factor. Zeta is damping matrix, and K is stiffness matrix. And then we have that. We do have from here. There's a very important concept I'm going to introduce you here. The mass matrix, the cap mass matrix here, has to be symmetric. The damping matrix also has to be symmetric. K matrix has to be symmetric. If they are not symmetric matrix, then your model is wrong. Okay, take 10 minutes off so you can relax a little bit.